So another review from this week's GTA Online weekly update offers, and it's the LF-22 Starling. Now this is an unusual one because some vehicles in GTA Online are just controversial for the strangest of reasons, and this is kind of one of them. It seems to be, unless you are one of the sort of die-hard Starling fans, it seems to be quite poorly regarded by everyone else, to the point that if you use one, you can be seen as some sort of fanboy, and I don't quite get that. But anyway, it's on offer this week, so I thought I'd pick this up and give it a test. And I'm not transitioning to aircraft-based content, but the offers on the aircraft this week are just so much more interesting than the offers on the cars. So I thought this was worth a shot. Now, I've only actually flown one once before this. You get one in a mission, I forget which one it is, and it's a base model. So this is now mine that I've bought and fully upgraded. And the first thing I can say about the Starling is the upgrades are absolutely critical. For those of you that don't know, this has a tiny thruster which is just powerful enough to move you around, but when you actually want to fly, you have to use the booster. And you have quite limited boost on this thing, especially before you do the upgrades. So with the upgrades, you get a few seconds of boost. Now, when you've finished upgrading it, it's at least double, possibly as much as triple the length of time you get on the boost, which makes it much more useful, but also kind of tricky to fly. I guess it puts it in the same sort of category in terms of how you use it. It puts it up there with things like the Oppressor Mark 1 and the Scramjet, in that, judged objectively, they're not good. You know, they're not strong, they're clumsy, they're difficult to use. They are, sort of, by any objective measure, not good. But my god, they're fun. And as people like Mayonnaise and Joker for Life have proven, if you master one of those vehicles, then you can absolutely shred in it. And it's much the same for the Starling. So, same as last time, I'm going to test these. Whenever I need to test a vehicle, I think I'm going to use the same test now. I'm going to do hangar restock missions, and I'm going to keep doing it until I get this one in the light, because it's nice and consistent. And it's a good test because you have to do a bit of ground fighting, you have to do a bit of air fighting, you have to land, and then you have to get going again. And there you see the first downside of the Starling. It's not easy to control. It has an incredibly tight turning radius, so it is really good in sort of turn-based dogfighting. But as a plane itself, it's not something you're going to get in and just be able to master. It suffers from the same spawn issues as all other planes, in that sometimes it spawns so far away it feels like it spawned in GTA 4. But it does have a couple of hidden talents. One of which is that the machine guns are surprisingly powerful. It has decent homing rockets that are spammable. And it is a very accomplished dogfighter. Once you get used to how to fly the damn thing, you can actually have quite a lot of fun. The second of its superpowers is this takeoff. It's basically like an ejector seat with wings on, so if you're in trouble and you're near your Starling, if you're close enough to get in and press that boost, then you're out there, no one can catch up with you. It goes from 0 to full speed almost instantly, and it can get you out of trouble. The only problem is it can't keep you out of trouble because that boost is limited. Now, when the boost does run out, it is quite easy to glide, and it's still manoeuvrable when you're gliding. However, when the glide finishes, it comes time to land. Now, I find landing to be the hardest thing about this. That wheel at the bottom isn't so much a wheel, it's like a portable trampoline. And as soon as you touch it, it just throws you everywhere. I found it really difficult to land this thing anywhere near where I needed to be. And even when I did, if you want to get close to where you need to be, then you end up with something like this, which is the most inappropriate use of GTA's dramatic music ever.
3 days later.
So what I ended up doing is figuring out a way to crash into the spawn point, and that seemed to deal with that issue. So whether there is a technique or not, it looks like there may be, and maybe I just don't know it, but landing, not much fun. The rest of the plane though is just awesome. It's so much fun. I had to do quite a few of these restock missions, annoyingly. Last time I got the right one twice on the trot. This time I had to do quite a few to get the right one in the daylight. And in the Starling, they are so much fun. And I guess that's why I'm going to rate this thing highly. Because when it comes to missions like this, you've got two options. If you're grinding, the best way to do this is in the Raiju. You call it out, you sneak over, you explosive cannon the whole site, you sneak back. And you can grind it out like that, and yeah, it's profitable, but my god, boring. This does take a little bit longer. It only took a few minutes longer to do it this way, but I tell you what, it was a hell of a lot more fun. And just like the Oppressor Mark 1 and the Scramjet, the more you use this, the better you are. Now, my PvP is legendarily bad, so I'm not in a position to comment on how good this is in PvP. But I would definitely say, if you look to the Scramjet for inspiration, the Scramjet at first sight, or the Scramjet on first impression, seems like the worst and most inappropriate PvP vehicle. But when you get used to it and when you learn how to do the jump boost and shoot, it's so much fun and it's really satisfying to use. And that's the difference. There's nothing satisfying about spraying a whole street with explosive cannon. Whereas actually learning to master something as difficult as this and getting good kills or completing missions, I think this is where the secret of the game is at the moment. Yes, the meta for a lot of these vehicles is how you can do things the most easily or the most quickly. But the reverse meta is how can you do the same things and have a damn sight more fun. And if that's what you're looking for, the Starling is a good step in that direction. And there couldn't be a better week than this week to buy it. It's on offer. I believe it's 1.4 million, which is actually cheap for any plane anyway. By the time you've upgraded it, you will have spent a couple of million because there are a lot of upgrades you need. But all in all, I say this is absolutely fabulous. I only bought it to do this video and I'm using it for everything now. So my recommendation, give it a chance. It's on offer, it's great fun, and it's really worth your time. So I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully when the update drops later tonight, I'll have some interesting cars to review for you next week. Take care of yourselves, I'll see you in the next one.